Okay, being 1 o'clock, I'd like to call to order Public Health and Community Services, December 3rd. Can I get a roll call, please?
Hendricks. Krieger.
Here.
Van Hoff.
Present.
Sullivan. Shorten.
Here.
Altoff.
Here.
Von Bergen.
Here. All right, next up, could I get a motion to allow
I'll make
DeAnna.
a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Well, or you have to allow DeAnna in first.
Oh, I'll make a motion to allow Ms. Krieger to participate by.
Seconded by
I'll second.
Mr. Shorten. All those in
For Hendricks
favor?
also.
I'm sorry?
Is he on?
He voted.
Okay,
He voted.
okay. Would you like to add Eric?
Yes,
to your-
I amend my motion to add Mr. Hendricks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, yes, all right, motion carries. Welcome, DeAnna. Next up, could I get a motion for the minutes?
So moved, sorry, I was jumping the gun.
Ms. Altoff
Second.
and Ms. Van Hoff seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Okay, we have some public comment. First up, is it Carrie Friend?
Yes, Kelly and I are going to switch though, if that's okay.
Okay,
She's going to go first.
welcome.
Thank you. Weird to be on this side of the table. I have some handouts too, just so you guys can have some more information. There's 10 sets of them. So as you know, I'm Kelly Wegner. I'm the Director of Finance at Pioneer Center. And Pioneer Center runs the only homeless shelter in the county, and it's a 70-bed homeless shelter, 24 hours, 365 days a year. And being on this committee last year and the year before, I didn't know much about the COC. So that's why I'm talking, because the COC, the Continuum of Care, is an organization in the county that has lots of different organizations, including county officials, in it, and their goal is to end homelessness in McHenry County. And the people who are in, or the organizations that are in the COC are basically the experts on homelessness in the county. There's 4 different types of housing. It's ranging from temporary to permanent. There's the emergency housing, which is the shelter, rapid rehousing, transitional housing, and permanent supportive housing. Well, there's a new NOFO that the administration put out that you're going to hear about later for this funding, and they are changing what their priorities are. So last year, they had about almost 90% of the funding went to permanent supportive housing, and they're changing that now to 30%, which is going to drastically reduce the amount of permanent supportive housing here in the county. So I'm going to go back a second. First, research has shown that housing first, or providing people with housing, whether it's permanent housing or voluntary voluntary services, doing housing first, they decreases the homelessness and improves housing stability more efficiently and effectively than the high barrier treatment first approaches. So that's what the aim was first, was housing first. Now it's changing. So the National Alliance to End Homelessness warns that this new NOFO will force communities to reallocate funds from permanent housing programs to less effective housing, like high barrier transitional housing and emergency shelter, or only supportive services. So that means that the funding is going to change. The result was that we may end up, there's a high likelihood we'll end up with more homeless people in the county. So people who are in this permanent supportive housing may no longer have the funding to stay in, and then they will become homeless. Another result of this is that the awards won't be made until June of next year, which means the current grants will run out, and there will be unpaid rent, and a significant reduction in services, which means the homeless in the community will increase. Another thing that you guys are going to hear about is the administration is requiring anti-camping laws. And so every municipality or county has to look at their zoning laws and create some sort of anti-camping law or ordinance. And so you're going to be talking about that. The thing is, they just put this NOFO out and they're requiring all of this to be done in December, and it can't be done.
I just have a question. You said the administration, what administration?
Federal administration,
Okay.
yeah, HUD. So that's one thing you guys are gonna be tasked with too. So you're gonna hear from other organizations. I just wanna let you know that the Continuum of Care is working together really diligently to figure out this NOFO and apply for where the money's gonna be most effective and try to get the most at-risk funding to be funded first. And just, we ask for your help. This could be, create an additional strain on the shelter too. If people become homeless, then our shelter is also gonna fill up. So just keep that in mind. I know that the county, I watched all the budget meetings, you don't have any extra money, but if you can think of different ways to help us, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Can I ask just one question first? This is still subject to administrative rules, right? I mean, we don't know, so there's still an opportunity for some input from local units of government.
I don't think so. I think the NOFO was passed. There's lawsuits. Multiple states have sued the government because actually what was supposed to happen is there was supposed to be a continuation of last year and we knew what was coming and instead they scrapped that and added this new NOFO.
Thank you. Okay, that's a clarification. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, Carrie.
I'm Carrie. I'm Carrie Friend. I'm the Director of Homeless Services for McHenry County. I am here for the same reason as Kelly and many others in the audience. I'm here not only for Pioneer Center, but also on behalf of the people and the agencies in McHenry County that we partner with. My concern is that if our funding is reduced by up to 71%, it's going to drastically affect not only Pioneer Center, but it's also going to affect the partners that we have. It's going to create a bottleneck in this county where we're having a lot of success getting people to better outcomes at Home of the Sparrow thresholds and partnering with these agencies. And it's not that we won't serve the people that currently have permanent supported housing, but this is going to really affect the good outcomes that we're having at the shelter. We have about 80% of the people that we serve leave PADS to a more positive outcome. And most of those positive outcomes are places like Home of the Sparrow thresholds and of course, single rental units too. But I'm concerned about that because we're not going to be able to get people to better outcomes nearly as fast as we are now. And that's going to be a problem in this county. So not only is our shelter going to fill up, and I would love to be able to, there's a part of me that would love to be able to serve more people, but not for this reason. I don't want people coming out of, going back into homelessness. That's not what we're in business to do. I'm here to prevent people from being homeless. And I'm concerned about the effect that that's going to have on not just us, but other agencies too. We served right around 200 people last year. We were happy to be able to serve that number of people. But our average length of stays, all of that, are going to increase. And we're going to have less people leaving the shelter, which means if we get full, we're not going to be able to serve as many people because they're going to be at the shelter longer. And I just wanted to voice my concern. And we're certainly, I don't know how much the county can do to help with this. But anything you guys could do to help would be much appreciated because it's very scary for those of us that are part of the COC. We've been working very, very hard to end homelessness in this county, and it breaks my heart that we're going to actually be increasing. And I apologize for crying, but this is something I've been doing for 23 years, and it's something I'm very passionate about, and I don't want to see it happen, and it feels like we don't have a lot of control over it, and it's scary. So thank you for listening. That's all I have to say.
Carrie, you made a comment about positive outcomes. It would be extraordinarily helpful, and you're right, I don't know what we can do, but we certainly can maybe make noise. It would be very helpful if we had data about what those positive outcomes and how they've improved over the years.
Yeah, they've improved a lot, and regardless of you, I do have data. Would that be good for me to send to you guys?
Either get it to our chair here or get it
Okay.
to the chair from the county board.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that. I have all kinds of data. We track just about everything, but I can give you some of the key points, and we would just appreciate anything you can do. And also, I would welcome any of you to come and tour the shelter anytime you'd like to. Okay? Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next up, Aaron Neal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aaron Neal. I'm with Thresholds. I'm the Director of Homeless Contracts Compliance. Thresholds, we are in 4 continuums of care. One of my favorites is where I'm at right now. And what I think is very unique about this community is this is the only unified funding agency within the COC programming in the state of Illinois, which I think speaks to how well things work here, but the need is severe. The National Alliance to Homelessness estimates, and it's just the math says 170,000 people who are permanently housed and were formerly homeless will become homeless again. What we are seeing in the state of Illinois is that's going to be about 20,000 people. So I mention that because all of the communities have to have or are part of a community or a continuum of care. It's really under attack, and they all touch each other. So what will we see when Cook County has an increase in homelessness, Lake County has an increase in homelessness, Rockford has an increase in homelessness? Where are those people going to end up? They're going to hopefully find support from places like this. So I just want to call attention to that. What we do at Thresholds is most of our members are living in apartments of their own where we're providing services, but we do have funding through the continuum of care where we're working specifically with clients who are usually coming from our shelter system. So I just thank you for your time. If there's any question I can answer, I'll definitely do my best. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Kristen Miller.
Hello, I'm Kristen Miller. I'm the grants manager at Home of the Sparrow, and there's not a whole lot I can add than what my colleagues have already spoken very eloquently to. We are certainly one of many of the agencies that will be impacted by the release of this NOFO. For us, it is our rapid rehousing program, which is a component of permanent housing, which, as Kelly mentioned, is slated to be cut down to 30%. Right now, about 85% of our continuum of care funds fund permanent housing projects, which include rapid rehousing across several agencies. Aaron's program over at Thresholds, which does amazing work, and as you heard, we're slated to get a pretty significant reduction in that. Carrie brought up very eloquently the bottleneck that is going to happen with our emergency shelter partners. We're very concerned about that as well. I guess all I wanted to add to this conversation is to implore the members of this commission, as well as any members of the board, to come to our COC meetings, come to each partner, any agency that's dealing in homelessness right now, please come talk to us. I think the reality is this is going to be devastating. There are going to be very significant effects on our county, on our system as a whole, and it's going to take a unified response across all parts of government locally to deal with this. So whether that's whatever capacity you have, whatever other commissions you may sit on or other people you may know, please engage with the COC, please engage with each of the partners, especially those who are at risk of losing their funding or seeing this reduction, to talk to us about how we can find solutions. Many of us are wearing many different hats. We're doing our best internally and as a COC to address this problem the best that we can. But we definitely will need the continued support and the increased support, I would say, of our county leaders. You know, we are a very united front as a COC. Our partners here do amazing work. I can't speak highly enough about them, but this is the time for our county leaders to step up and really engage with us as much as you can. So thank you all very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, and I just wanted to mention, thank you to everybody for coming in, but we will have in our reports section closer to the end of the meeting, Sarah Ponitz will maybe fill us in with a few more details on what may happen, what we think will happen. So if you're interested in staying. Yes, Ms. Althoff?
And I would just say too, anything that you're going to do together collaboratively, you should share with Sarah or share with Tracy so that there is a coordinated opportunity if one exists. So again, I not speaking for anybody, but speaking for everybody, we really do appreciate you taking time to come and share with us your concerns and the situation, but don't stop, right? Just keep letting us know what you're doing so we're aware.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no more public comment, we'll move on to member comments. Do you have any member comments?
Hi, I just want to let it be known that I'm here. This is Eric Hendricks.
Hi, Mr.
I think there
Hendricks.
needs to be a motion.
We did include you in our motion as the meeting
Appreciate
started
it.
earlier. So, welcome. Thank you for coming. So are there any member comments? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to new business. We have a number of interviews this afternoon for Community Development Housing Grant Commission and also the Mental Health Board. So if we will start out with our first applicant, and it's Vanessa. You have to help me with the last name. Thomfohrda. Okay.
They each is our
Great. Great. Can you please join us at the table and just give us a brief overview of if you can have a seat if you'd like.
And I'm going to interrupt you and just apologize now because I have to leave unfortunately at 2 o'clock today because I have a doctor's appointment. So I don't want you to think I'm bailing. But I apologize. So thank you.
If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and the interest on being on the Community Development Housing Grant Commission.
Yes. Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Vanessa Thomfohrda. I'm a local real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway Stark. I've been a licensed agent for 14 years. I'm 40 years old. Well, I'll be 40 years old in April. I have 3 kids. I'm a big community advocate. I am really involved in housing rights. I'm also on the board at Turning Point. Sarah knows me. Sarah. I'm at the board. I serve as a secretary on the board at Turning Point. That helps me to kind of see the needs of the community. And as a real estate agent, I'm very invested in McHenry County. I'm invested in housing. I'm invested in fair housing. I'm invested in housing development. This year, or this past year, it's been a goal of mine to immerse myself into McHenry County government and socializing with others, meeting people, developing those connections, so I can really see the intricacies and the ins and outs of McHenry County government and how that is connected with housing. For me, I feel like knowledge is power, so the more information that I can get, the better I can serve my clients and I can serve my community in McHenry County as well. So I saw the opening, I took the opportunity, and I definitely think I'd be a good fit. I think I'd be a great liaison between our local nonprofits as well, to really see the needs in McHenry County as well, and be able to kind of, toss ideas and collect their data and, help as much as I can.
Okay, great. Do any members have any questions? Ms.
No, I always
Althoff,
do.
go ahead.
I just wonder, I'm certain you've done your research and your background and you know the full scope of what this committee is responsible for. And there's at least one day, if not more, that requires your full commitment to being there for deliberations and comments. And I have a very personal as well as from an experience level, when you are appointed to a commission, you make a commitment to be there regardless. And so I just want to make sure that you're aware that there are people and monies that we are in control of. And it's important that if we appoint somebody that they literally understand the responsibility and show up.
Definitely. The only way to process the information is always by being there. I know that sometimes there's, reasons why we may have to Zoom or things like that, but I do make it a point. Again, I work in the community, and being a real estate agent gives me a lot of freedom with my children as well, to be able to schedule and have a really good working schedule. I have a great support system as well, with my family and stuff too. So when I make it a point to be a part of something, I am definitely 100% committed in all.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Do you have any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for joining us. Yeah.
You said you're on the Turning Point board, and was there another one?
I'm just on the, I'm on the Turning Point board. I'm also on the school advisory board for St. Margaret Mary School in Algonquin as well.
Thank you.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. We do have a number of interviews. We understand if you need to get on with your day, you're more than welcome to stay, to hear deliberations, but yeah, we understand. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It's totally up to you. We've got a lot to go through. So
I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Great,
So have
thank
a great
you.
day.
And Vanessa, again, I'm going to throw out there too, if you're not fortunate enough to be the one that is, please don't stop trying. There are many opportunities that the county provides. You've got a great resume going on here. Nobody really had any massive inquiries about background, but please don't let that stop you from trying to make
definitely. I will. My goals is to continue to be immersing myself in McHenry County government, so wherever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let you say it for now.
I'm writing that down.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be in here, so.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ness.
Afternoon.
I will just quickly, ask that you give us all of us know you, but if you could just give us a brief overview of yourself and your interest in serving.
I left my ears at home, so can I just move up here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Just, give us a brief
okay.
explanation on why you're interested in serving.
In the mid-1990s, when McHenry County reached 200,000 population, we became an entitlement community. At that point, Diane Clem appointed me to the first CDBG commission. And so I was on that commission for maybe 4 or 5 years. I can't quite remember. But I was really able to see the value of these funds being locally competitive to low-income areas, that the CDBG funds can make or break a project for a city or municipality that meets the income eligibility. I also know that CDBG is more focused on capital projects, infrastructure, water and sewer, blended projects. We were able to get communities to work together to bring a project forward, which I thought was remarkable because it had not happened in that way before. I think CDBG funds make a difference to communities that don't have the tax base or the population or the income to make those really important projects work for them. There are no unworthy projects that come before the commissioners. I've been both on the applicant side and the allocator side. They are both, can be very stressful for both parties because you have limited money and you always have the requests far exceed the money you have. So I think it's the commissioner's job to be thorough, deliberate, to be prepared when they come to the table, to work with staff to understand that which projects reach the ceiling in a more effective way than others. And I like to serve. I like to serve. So I thought I've been on the county board, so I understand it from that perspective. I do have things to do with my time, but you know, this is a very, I think especially now that economies are so strained and so tight, these monies make such a difference to communities. And I would like to step up.
We appreciate that. Do any members have any comments or?
I'll just note that I was pleased to see that when asked if there were challenges, that you responded, you know, with regard to the lack of funds and the continual, you know, clawback and reduction of those funds, that the challenges become more and more heightened every single year. And I was really pleased to see that you recognized that and took the time to note. I understand that as chair, Ms. Van Bergen runs that commission, that they have decided to, with some guidance, that it's better to fund a few projects more fully than to try and give the monies to everyone. And that is a very difficult but necessary step. So I just note that I was pleased to see that you had noted that.
Thank you, because when I got on the county board, I was shocked to see that our allocation was stagnant, that we hadn't increased in proportion to how the needs increased in our county. And you know, you're on the county board, got a lot of work to do, you sit on a lot of commissions, and I did not follow up. I talked to Bill Foster and Brad Schneider a couple of times, but not like actually sit down. How do we grow that pot of money for ourselves? Because I think we were close to giving out the same amount you give out today. And that was like, what, 30 years ago. So it baffles me. And I know that we have always been considered a donor county, that we send way more tax money out than we actually bring back for some of these marginal low-income communities, because we look pretty good on paper. So yeah, I feel like that's a challenge we could address.
And I have to apologize. I neglected to ask Member Krieger and Member Hendricks if they had any questions for the previous applicant. So give me some grace if
I do not.
No.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
not. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for coming in. We certainly appreciate your past service and your wish to continue serving.
Okay. I do have to leave. I have a doctor's appointment. Someone will let me know.
Understand it. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Those are the last two for CDHG. So we are moving on to interviews for the Mental Health Board. And thank you for joining us, Ms. Meschini. We certainly appreciate your long service on the Mental Health Board. But Ms. Krieger is a new member. I'm not sure if you've had much, but if you could just tell us a little bit about your continued
I've
wish
never
to
been so
serve.
nervous in my life. I have to tell you, I don't know why, but I'm very nervous. And I put down together some of the accomplishments the Mental Health Board that I had a hand in the past couple of years.
Is it 2 pages?
No, it's one.
Oh,
Just
okay.
one
So
page.
just
So you can see, and I've been active. I do know the time commitment because I've spent 20 to 30 hours a month in the last few months there. I've been on the Mental Health Board. Right now, I'm the president of the Mental Health Board. I'll just go over some of the things that I personally, I've been involved in all these, but I was real active in bringing in a grant writer. And that was my baby, and I said, we've got to push it through. It has brought in over $1 million worth of grants to the court services, NAMI, and Support Services, NAMI, and Warp Core. Also, right now, we're doing a 3/4 apartment building over by Sheltered Village for New Directions. We're involved in that, and I pushed that through. We're looking at our budget. We've hired a new administration staff. We've cut our staff so we can give more money to agencies. We've cut a position. We've rearranged things. Those are all things that we've done in the last year. Some of the things that I think are still needed is more collaboration with the county. We've started doing a lot of collaboration. We have, NAMI has gotten a $1.2 million money grant to buy a building. They bought a building and the front of our building will be empty. And so we need to talk to the county and see if there's anything, and talk to other people too, to see if there's any need for the front building. I know. And those are things that I see coming along. Also, what we've done is we've invested. This is the first time ever that we've invested through Donna Kurtz, the county. I'm just trying to look at my notes. We need to revise the personnel policies. And the reason we need to revise them is they're still from COVID, where people worked at home a lot, and they do need to be revised. We're pretty well set, except that we have one position open. That's our administrative assistant. It's Bridget's old job, so she's doing several jobs, but we hope to have somebody hired very shortly. We also need to look at collaboration with the county. For example, I found out that the Public Health Department in McHenry County got a grant for Narcan. We fund Live for Lolly for Narcan, so we need to put the two together so we're not doing two different things for Narcan. So we need to look at what we're doing and what the county's doing and try to work together with that. So that's just brought to my attention. Also, the county, we could do our phones with the county, which would save thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I didn't know that. Bridget brought it to the attention, and that's something that we need to do. So any way we can save money, and we look at eliminating another position eventually to give back to the agencies. We fund over 30 agencies and 80 programs. That's quite a bit for the money that we have. And of course, the biggest, just like what Lou said, we never have enough money. And that has been from day one that I've been involved. There's more need than there is money, always. So that's basically what's going on in the Mental Health Board. I love to serve. This has been my baby. I thought that I would want to leave, and I don't. I'd be real honored to be appointed again. So do you have any questions for me?
Hi, Connee, it's so good to see you.
Thank you.
We've known each other forever.
I know, we have. That's true. That's true.
So you mentioned an apartment by Sheltered Village, but
Yeah.
I didn't hear
New
all of it.
Directions is building it's called a 3/4 apartment, meaning it's not going to be staffed all the time, but it'll be staffed some of the time, and it's for substance abuse.
Okay.
It'll be independent apartments, but there'll be somebody who will stop in maybe 8 hours a day or something, but it's not going to be staffed full time.
Okay, and where is that now in, as far as?
They haven't started it
Okay.
yet, but it will be started. We gave them some money, they got money elsewhere, and it will be built. That they've got the land, they've got everything secured, so, and that's needed.
Okay, that's exciting. And you also mentioned that you were investing now?
Yes,
funds?
yes.
So these were reserve funds that that were just sitting in an
No,
account
no.
before? or
No,
what?
no.
What? Explain that.
We have some money that we can invest,
Mhm.
and Donna came and talked to our board, Donna Kurtz,
Mhm.
and we invested some of our money. We may have to pull it out at certain times because we use our money, but we wanted to make more money.
Okay.
And so some of it was a little bit of reserves. This year, when we did our budget, we had about $350,000 extra that we didn't spend. And we kept it because if there's an emergency,
You have to be liquid. Right?
we have to be liquid, we do. And I remember years ago when there was Family Alliance, their furnace went out in the middle of winter, and we needed to fund that furnace, and that was quite expensive. So we kept that back. So we are investing a little bit.
Okay.
So I think it's a good thing. Any way we can make more money is good.
Okay. Okay. And I won't ask any more questions because
Oh, no, that's okay.
we have a
Okay.
lot more
Yeah.
interviews to go. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here, for all your service.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm always the Debbie Downer.
Okay.
So no, I just have to, and I apologize because I forgot to say it to the two prior interviewees. We make recommendations to the chairman, but ultimately it is the chairman's decision whether to accept our recommendation and/or make his own decision. So I just want to be clear to everyone about that. And then number two is, it is, and I talk about this, these poor people are so tired of me talking about this. It is a very difficult situation particularly for me, when we have people like you, Connee, that have served in a great capacity and have been successful and have given all of your time successfully. And then to see new people who want to come and engage in community and become part of that. And I just want to note that we have in front of us, you know, 2 returning members, but we also have some really nice new applicants. And just, I don't want anyone's feelings to be hurt, or I don't want anyone to feel that we're not, you know, really considering new applicants because they get irritated. Why did they even apply if we're going to just,
Right.
so I kind of want to lay that groundwork. This is not easy work for us.
Oh, I know.
The quality of applicants just always pleasantly surprises me that there are that many people that we have in McHenry County that want to get engaged and want to do good. And that doesn't take away from anything. You know this. I've been an admirer of yours from day one. It doesn't take away from that. I just want to be very clear on how difficult that particular situation is for all of us, and not to discourage people. You heard me say that to Vanessa. Not to discourage people, but to encourage them. But I've watched it before on many other boards, particularly public health, where people come back and, you know, they feel that nothing is being considered. So I just had to make my little soapbox speech.
I will make one statement to that, Pam, is there's a lot of new members on our board. And the historical knowledge, the institutional knowledge really is good, you know, that I bring to it. And I'm not trying to sell myself, but you cannot bring all new people into a board. I mean, it's really hard, very hard. Not that you don't want turnover, you do, but you don't want it where there's
All new people at one time.
The people that we have on the board, there's not one person who's been there more than 3 years, ever. I mean, right now.
Thank you.
So we have 2 positions to fill.
Yes, you have
right?
2.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, I neglected Ms. Krieger and Mr. Hendricks.
No, I think they're open. Connie's still here if they have something.
Okay. Okay, our next applicant is DeAnna Kell.
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
Take one of these chairs.
Right there. Hello. Hello.
Thank you so
Hi.
much for coming in and your interest in serving on the mental health board.
Thank you for having me.
If you could just give us a brief overview of yourself and why you're interested in serving on the mental health board.
Okay. So my name is DeAnna Kell, and I own a couple businesses in the county, and I think I would be good at serving in the mental health board because I feel like there's a significant rise and I have a lot to contribute with my business leadership skills, such as I can help out with finances, community outreach. I absolutely love giving back to the community. So I have some extra time, and so this is why I'm here, to see how I can give back.
Okay, Short and sweet, we like that.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I could talk a lot, but I'm saving all of you in the room.
Thank you, yeah.
We're gonna make you talk. So tell me how familiar you are with the mission and the past work that the Mental Health Board has done.
Okay, so I am new to this, so I am still researching it, but I see you put funds out to not-for-profits, help with families, veterans. So it is something I'm still researching. But I also sit on the board for Big Brother Big Sister, which is a not-for-profit, so I work with youths myself.
And you are aware, seeing as how you're still doing your research, this is Mom talking to you now.
Yes.
Look at this.
Okay.
The amount of grant applications that the Mental Health Board receives for a very limited amount of money is substantial. And I can tell you that the board spends a vast amount of time evaluating all of these grants to determine who, what the priority, all of them are worthy. So what the priority is, and it's a huge commitment. And I just want to make sure that you understand that, in the event you're successful and you are one of the entities we forward to the chair,
Okay.
right? Because it's a chairman's decision, we just make recommendations.
Okay.
You need to make that commitment and you need to be there. Nobody can slack on this because, again, it's allocating very limited funds and that's your responsibility and you need to be at the meeting. So I'm the old person in the room, so I make sure that that attendance and true participation is not something that you get to, you're making that commitment.
Yes, I appreciate you telling me that. But when I commit to something, I'm 100% in. If I'm gonna be there, if I give my word is my word. I understand the level of commitment. That is why I'm sitting right here in this chair with everyone in this room.
I needed to hear that. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course.
Certainly appreciate it.
So you said you own multiple businesses?
I do, in the county. One in Lake in the Hills and then one in Crystal Lake.
Okay. Are they both the medical spas?
They're Elite Laser and Skin Spa, and then I recently bought, it's the old Shea Boutique in Crystal Lake. It's now called Coco's Boutique. I rebranded it. I wanted to bring something into the community that I wanted to shop at and to give back with.
And so you're engaged in operations on
Oh yes, everything. I oversee everything. That's why with the level of commitment, absolutely know what I'm up for.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Mr. Hendricks, Ms. Krieger, do you have any questions?
How many people are in here?
There's two online.
Over there too?
Yep, we have two remote.
I just want to say, I know the applicant, she's a wonderful person. She's an amazing entrepreneur. I have no doubts that she's going to be if she's selected, she'll be a phenomenal addition to the Mental Health Board.
Thank you.
Great.
So I just have
Okay,
just
go
a
ahead.
couple of questions.
Sure.
First, how did you hear about the opening that we have on mental health?
You know what, I think it was online that I read about it, and I've had some personal experience with people I know, and it really resonated with me, so it's something that I thought I would just love to go and contribute.
Okay, and then the other question, have you ever, listened to a mental health board meeting, they videotape all of these and they're online, or ever attended one of the public meetings of mental health?
I have not.
Okay, just curious about that. That might be a good idea to get
Absolutely,
an
it's a good
idea of
idea.
what's involved and get a little more acquainted with what they do. So beyond that, have you done any research, like going online to look at some of the things that they do at mental health?
Absolutely. I actually just followed your Facebook page too.
Okay.
I've been going all through your website, reading about it. I was trying to get pictures of all of you guys so I knew so I could know what everyone looks like when I walk in, but that was a little bit more difficult. But I dug and I found some pictures. So
yeah. We're all there. If you go to the county site, they have photos, beautiful photos of all of
putting names in
them.
and doing it that way, so that helped.
Okay.
Yes.
And just one other question. How long have you lived in the county?
Okay, so I grew up in the county. I grew up in Fox River Grove. And then I was in Crystal Lake. I did live in Barrington, and now I've been like in the hills. So I pretty much was here my whole life.
Okay.
So I have a lot of roots in this county. I have businesses here. I've done a lot of charity work here. I'm doing actually this weekend something with Turning Point. I do stuff with autism. I do all kinds of philanthropy work. And I was also blessed to have a stepfather that had a business in Crystal Lake for 35 years. And he was very much into giving back to the community, and he really mentored me and showed me the way. And plus it makes you feel good.
Well,
and I have time.
Yeah, I was happy to hear about Big Brother's Big Sister.
Yeah.
I was Big Sister
Were
for
you?
a lot of years. That was very rewarding. So just one final question. What do you think, just from what you know from what's going on in the county and everything, what do you think the biggest challenge for the mental health board is at this time and in the coming, in the coming years?
Allocating funds to the appropriate people, appropriate organizations, I would think. Isn't that always,
Yes.
seems to be the issue?
Yes.
In many of them?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Krieger, did you have any questions?
I have none at this time, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing no other questions, I want to thank you for coming in and applying. We do have a few more interviews to go. We will be deliberating after those. You're more than welcome to stay, but we completely understand if you need to get on with your day.
Okay, thank you everybody for your time and the consideration of my application. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's quiet on my end. Is the audio coming through?
We're waiting for the next applicant.
We're taking a moment, Eric.
It was shut down.
Understood.
They're each in the hallway. None of them are in the room, so we have to go and get them.
Okay, next.
Okay, and then,
Next up, we have Rachel Jones. Thank you so much for coming in and your interest in the mental health board.
thank y'all for having me.
If you would just take a minute or two and give us a brief overview of yourself and your interest in being on the mental health board.
For sure. So my name is Rachel, she said. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm also a perinatal mental health specialist. And I co-own a private practice. We offer services virtually throughout the state of Illinois and then in the northwest suburbs for anybody who's willing to drive to our location. I've been practicing post-grad school since 2020. Graduated right into the beginning of the pandemic. Really chill, sort of forged in fire there. And so my main areas of expertise and specialty are perinatal mental health predominantly, and really working in that space both with individuals who are pregnant, have given birth, or who are in the postpartum period. I also do a lot of relational work in that space since I'm also a marriage and family therapist, and so we do a lot of work crossing over there in supporting families. And so that is a big passion area of mine, and one of the bigger catalysts for me wanting to potentially be involved with the board. As I'm sure we all know, perinatal mental health is, suffering and really, really important. And then I also do a lot of work in relational and family trauma as well. I'm trained in EMDR and other trauma therapies, and then just do kind of a lot of, other general family work. So a little bit of everything keeps me happy and busy. So that's kind of me professionally. I've taught at the university level. I present at least yearly at national and state conferences, both on perinatal mental health and also on other family therapy topics. I'm extremely passionate about continuing education, making sure that whatever I am bringing my expertise to, I'm working with the latest things that we know are working well and up-to-date practices, and so that would be something I would believe I would be responsible for doing if I were working with the board, is making sure I'm staying up to date on my stuff and really current, to be bringing that here. And that's kind of the bullet points about me professionally. Human-wise, I've got a toddler. He's awesome. I talk about him constantly, so be prepared for that if y'all welcome me. And we live in Cary. Moved out to the area about a year ago and are quite in love with being in McHenry County, and really just want to get involved in the community and be of service.
Let me give my speech.
Yep.
I give the speech.
All right, perfect.
So again, in your research and your learning what the mental health board is responsible for and does, you are aware that once, if you are successful in the appointment, that you have a responsibility to show up to all the meetings and to be at all the meetings, as I leave this meeting at 2:00. But the responsibility is significant because, again, you were correct in your application. Your main responsibility is to review the grant applications and then allocate the money appropriately. And as you know, the needs always grow and the money typically does not. And so that's a real commitment. And I just want to look at you and have you acknowledge that I have made that statement. And it's a lot of time. Fortunately, I think you do own your own business, so maybe it'll be a little bit easier for you. But I want to know that once you make the commitment, you will be at the meetings and that you will stay at the meetings and that you will work with the whole board to ensure that you're meeting that responsibility.
Absolutely, and very fair. It's not a decision or a responsibility that I would take lightly. It's the community's overall health that's being decided, and that's not a small potato.
I appreciate that comment. And also, just so you do understand, this committee will do the interviews and we will make a recommendation to the chairman, but all of these appointments fall within the chairman's purview. He will appoint whomever he feels is appropriate for that, just so you know.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
And I think that's all.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to thank you, first of all, Rachel, for being here. And yeah, really excited to hear about your experience and everything, and marital and family therapy and trauma and all of those things. How much do you know about the mental health board itself in the county? Have you attended any meetings, or what is your involvement? How much do you know about what they do?
So I haven't been able to attend any meetings. I did do a pretty deep dive on the website and was looking at, where the funding is going right now, kind of what it's looking like, priorities are, what the mission of the board is, where we're kind of focused. Also looked at, maybe areas that that would be maybe potential opportunities in the future to have focus on if, funding is available. And then what really kind of stuck out to me was that the board seems really focused on funding and supporting projects that are caring about people as a whole, like a very holistic kind of like wraparound multi-service approach where people are engaging with projects that are funded by the board directly or indirectly through organizations that were really focused on people as a whole and supporting them in getting back into life or growing in their life rather than hitting just little pinpoints. And that's something as a relational therapist that works in systems really drove me to want to work with the board, was that focus on systems rather than just these kind of little pieces. And so that's what I found really exciting. To be transparent, there certainly would be a learning curve for me. This would be a new experience, and so I would be really picking up fast. And that's, I do want to be transparent about that. And so most of what I know about the board is really coming from just doing research via the website and news articles and pieces like that, and kind of piecing those things together. And then I did tap one of my family members who's done similar work in Michigan and ask, tell me what does this look like? So I knew that what I was applying for was something I could actually do well, and not just kind of wild with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, are you familiar with the referendum that was just passed last year, which kind of changed the funding source for the mental health board from property tax to a sales tax?
I'm familiar with that with that sentence. Yes, I don't know a ton underneath to be.
But you were aware of the referendum and?
We vote. We vote.
That was kind of a softball there, but okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Hendricks, Ms. Krieger, do either of you have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming in. I just wanted to mention, you know, there are 2 positions open, and there are a number of applicants that are applying. But I just want to say that, you know, if you are not selected, you know, please don't stop at, you know, at looking to support the county. I mean, there's so many opportunities, and I mean, you have a wonderful resume, and so we do appreciate you coming in. We do have a few more interviews, then we will have deliberations. You're more than welcome to stay, or we certainly understand if you need to get on with your day.
Okay. I can stay until I have clients, and then I got a book.
There you go. Yep. So thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you all very much for your time. I really, really appreciate it, and hope to be working with y'all in this capacity or another one in the future. Thank you.
Appreciate you too. Thank you.
Four minutes.
Oh, gosh, you have some.
You're right. You're right.
Hey,
How are you? Good to see you. Okay, now I'm in.
You have to help me with your last name, Tom
Langhenry.
Langhenry. Great, thank you. Thank you for coming in and your interest in the Mental Health Board. If you would just take a minute or two and give us a brief overview of yourself and why you're interested in serving.
Oh, sure, I'd be happy to. My name's Tom Langhenry. I've been a resident of McHenry County now for 25 years. I moved here with my wife, been raising our 2 kids. During that time, I've held the position as a police officer and just recently retired after 27 years. You know, working in that. But I'm happy to be living in McHenry County because I think they're responsive to their citizens that live here through the services that they provide, and especially the mental health programs that they have available here. I have firsthand experience as to how mental health affects the community, being a police officer and a first responder. I've seen the real world effects of people that are in distress and crisis, and how the outcomes can be changed when we train our police officers in mental health awareness and de-escalation strategies. And that's the reason why I want to be on this board here, is because I want to continue the work that I began as a police officer and be a voice for those first responders, officers, EMTs, dispatchers, how mental health training and programs intersect with public safety.
Okay, Ms. Olthoff.
Are you familiar with the new Sheriff's Department program, our social worker program?
I have, yes I have. I've learned a lot about social workers because they certainly are the go-between between officers that are involved in the field and have a crisis response system, and then the police social worker programs, when we can expand upon how they approach their job and meet the needs of the citizens that need extra care in the mental health area. I've seen the outcomes that have changed lives through that, especially in substance use disorders. You know, many times families that are involved in crisis situations, their first experience with the system is through police contact, and I want to change that through prevention and see how people can, you know, before they have that crisis on the street, and possibly have a place where they might find themselves incarcerated, get them into treatment programs where you can have those underlying issues addressed before that they have a police contact. So a police social worker program in McHenry County here was very effective in establishing a relationship and coordinating between the different agencies that provide it and the people that need it.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I was
She's gonna give her normal speech.
So again, this is my little role here. I want to make sure that you hear it and you acknowledge. It is extraordinarily important for people who are appointed to this position to show up. We expect that, if you are given the opportunity to serve, you will in fact attend all of the meetings, be someone who does your homework, and absolutely make sure that you understand that is your responsibility and there won't be any reason for you to show up 10 minutes late or, find a reason not to be there. So I just want you to acknowledge to the committee that you understand this is a full commitment.
I fully agree and accept that responsibility.
Okay. And then again, just so you know, this committee makes a recommendation to the chairman, but ultimately it is the chairman's purview and responsibility to appoint whomever he feels would best serve in that capacity. Just so that you understand, we'll make a recommendation and we'll deliberate, but ultimately it is the chairman's decision on who gets appointed or not. Okay. And then I just wanted to know, you are aware of the referendum that was initiated by the county to change the funding source for the mental health board?
Yes, and I supported that. That was the sales tax referendum where they changed the
Little
funding
softball
from
there.
property taxes
Yeah.
and then to a sales tax. And initially, I saw that there was some concern about the money that we would be taking in, but I anticipate that the growth will be there, that we'll have increased funding available for all these programs.
Well, we hope so. That was the intent. So, again, I guess maybe the only other thing I'll note is that it's been mentioned by several people, and I'll kind of do that as well. One of the things that we would like to work very closely with the Mental Health Board is to see where we can help reduce overhead expenditures, where there's opportunity to collaborate together and provide services potentially to the Mental Health Board that if the county provided that resource like a phone system, you would be willing to go ahead and do that with us so that you're not expending more money on a separate phone system when you didn't have to. So just throw that out to you that is something that is on the uppermost mind of many of us at the county board level, is we're trying to make sure that as much money goes to those service providers as we possibly can get, and they're not spending money on overhead. That's my role. I get to say those things. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Do we have any other member questions? Mr. Hendricks, Ms. Krieger, who are there joining us?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for your service, and I appreciate your attendance today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great. Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you again for coming in and your interest. We do have a few more interviews, and then we will be deliberating on the two positions that are available. You're more than welcome to stay, but we understand if you need to get on with your day also.
All right, thank you.
I apologize to you. Michael, will you take over my role?
I was taking notes, I think
I did too.
I was talking slowly and looking at you. So all 3 points.
I figured it was coming my way. So.
I appreciate that. And I trust all of you.
Well, that's a mistake.
No, I don't think so. It's nice to see such positive applicants. I mean, it's great.
Take one of those chairs there.
Vanessa said something and she thought I was referring to the Heartland Association. I wasn't. It was just being me. So.
Great, next up we have Raymond Lapinas. Great, thank you so much. Thank you for coming in. We certainly appreciate your service. And if you could just take a few moments to tell us about yourself and your service and why you're interested in maintaining that on the Mental Health Board.
Sure. I'm currently the Vice President of the Mental Health Board. Some background on my work history, I've had about 30 years worth of management consulting services. I specialize mainly in corporate governance, internal controls, more financial matters. I retired in 2018. In 2017, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And so it behooved me to step back a bit. Although in 2023, Vinnie Foglia requested that I would help out managing the Neurobalance Center in Barrington, Illinois, which is a health and wellness center. And so I took on that role. Within 4 months, they made me the executive director, which was a role I held until just about the end of September. At that time, I had reorganized the organization where they wouldn't meet. I pretty much got rid of my own position, so there's no longer an executive director to save administrative costs of over $100,000 and such. I'm passionate with regard to mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities. I'm actually a recovering alcoholic with 15 years of sobriety. I'm bipolar, so I have two of the cogs in our goals and such. And I believe that I brought quite a bit of stability and my background to the mental health.
Great, thank you. We also acknowledge that. I've heard some great things about your service. Are there any members that have any questions?
I'll do the short version of the mom speech.
Okay.
Since Pam's not here, I then bequeath the title. As you know, as an existing and ongoing mental health board member, it's important to show up to meetings and attend. Obviously, you understand the commitment. Yeah, it'll be shorter than some of the other folks that are new interviewees. If I miss anything, Tracy, please back me up. So you know, you got to show up, you got to attend meetings, prepare, and it's a full commitment. Ultimately, this board makes a recommendation to the chairman, and ultimately he makes a decision. What else? Did I miss anything? Sorry, you're getting the short version.
Yeah, I think you.
And you're welcome.
You've hit most of her points. So
Yeah.
I think.
And you're aware of the changing in the funding. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
Mr. Hendricks, Ms. Krieger, any questions?
Not for me, no.
No.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you again for your continued interest in your past service of dedication to the Mental Health Board. We've got, let's see, one more interview, then we'll be making deliberations for the 2 positions that are open. You're more than welcome to stay, or we understand if you need to get on with your day. Great. Thanks again.
Do we need to narrate for Eric and
Yes.
Tina?
So, next up, we have.
Susan is here. She's just not in the hall at the moment, so.
Okay. Okay, we have Susan Marschall, and she's our last interview.
Do a sing-along holiday season. Any requests, Gloria? No?
Fly me to the moon.
Call an email from the first applicant. She had some clarifying answers she wanted you to know. If you'd like to look at it, it wasn't all of your emails.
Okay. Okay. Well, get that open.
Feel free to take one of those chairs.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you for joining us and your interest in the Mental Health Board.
Thank you for
If you
having
would
me.
just take a few moments to tell us a little about yourself and why you're interested in serving on the Mental Health Board.
Sure. My name is Susan Marschall. I am a pharmacist for Advocate Aurora. I have been in McHenry County since 2012. Moved up here with my son, Andrew. I have extensive background in pharmacy. I started in retail, went to hospital, and now I have the pleasure of being able to work remotely from home. Doing order verification for Advocate Aurora, so I carry a license in both Illinois and Wisconsin. I'm interested in the board just because I feel there is such a crisis for mental health, and that I would think that with my background I'd be able to lend some additional resources, information.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from members? Mr. Hendricks, Ms. Krieger?
I do not.
Okay, I will let Mr. Shorten then
Give the mom speech.
give the mom speech, yes.
Normally, Pam Altoff is here to give the mom speech. She left and appointed me.
Okay.
How about the dad speech?
There you go.
Amen. What's the dad
speech? You know, whatever.
I do mom and dad speeches.
Yeah,
so
that's fine. I don't even know who I've got 3 kids, so half the time I'm not sure who I'm talking to. They're all grown at this point, so they all. But in any event, you know, we point people to a lot of different committees, and one thing that's very important is that we want to make sure that the people that are applying understand the commitment that's involved. Mental Health Board, have you taken a look at any of their meetings or visited their website and understand the breadth of the involvement that is needed?
Yes.
And you understand that it's important that you show up. One of the primary responsibilities is determining which organizations throughout the county receive the funding appropriately.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that people understand, show up. You need to show up to all the meetings. You need to show up prepared, do the prep work in advance, and understand that it's a full commitment.
Yes.
Okay. Secondarily, are you aware of the change in funding that took place as a result of the referendum in 2023, 4? I lost track.
It was March of 2023. Yeah, it went into effect 2024.
Okay.
July 1st, 2024.
No, go if you could explain.
Sure. So the funding for the Mental Health Board used to come from line of the property taxes. It was put before the voters as a referendum to change it to sales tax.
Okay.
So it went in place about, I'm sorry, I should.
So actually, yeah, it was March of 2024 was the referendum, and then implementation was July of 2024. So July 1st.
Yes.
Okay.
Then the sales tax based.
So the impact of funding is, rather than being decided by the county board, it's based on economic factors.
Okay.
And then the last thing on my dad list, I'll call it, is that ultimately this committee makes a recommendation to the chairman of the board, Chairman Bueller, and the decision that he makes is at his discretion. We do encourage anyone that applies here, if you're not selected, don't let that discourage you from applying for this board or any other board in the future. We need, while we have a county board and we have committees that we're on, there's 27 different committees in the county. So we just kind of put that out there as if it's not you, it's not because they don't like you. And there's lots of other opportunities.
How many positions are open?
There are 2.
Okay.
And we've got, let's see, six candidates for those 2 spots.
Okay.
So yes, I just
So
want
this
to.
this is a good problem to have.
Yes. Yeah.
That shows
We
that we
typically
have a lot
don't.
of people who are interested in becoming involved, so we do appreciate that.
Yes. Are there any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
So seeing none, thank you so much for coming in and your interest. We'll be moving on to deliberations shortly. You're more than welcome to stay, or we understand if you need to get on with your day.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, 5.9, deliberation and selection to the Community Development Housing Grant Commission. Deliberation and selection of one applicant for the recommendation to the County Board Chairman for the Community Development Housing Grant Commission to begin with the term on December 15th, 2025 and to expire December 15th, 2028. Mr. Shorten?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to recommend to Chairman Bueller, Vanessa Thorm, I should have practiced this before, Thomfohrda, we'll go with that, the Community Development Housing Grant Commission.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Hendricks seconds. We have any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will go to a vote.
Hendricks,
Yes, if you ask me.
Krieger, and Hoff,
No.
Shorten,
Yes.
Altoff, Von Bergen,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Motion carries for Vanessa Thomfohrda for the Community Development Housing Grants Commission. Next up, we have deliberation for and selection of the Mental Health Board for up to 2 applicants, with us recommending to the County Board Chairman for the Mental Health Board with terms to begin December 31st, 25 and expire December 31st, 2029. I see Mr. Hartman is ready with his marker to.
So may I go first? Connie Meschini and Rachel Jones.
Mr. Shorten?
This is a tough one. I mean, we had an appointment, I think, 2 months ago, the Mental Health Board, and we had 1 spot and 1 applicant, and this we have
And now,
2,
yeah.
and we have 6. My long-term memory and paying attention to McHenry County politics for a long time, I've lost count of the number of years, is that the Mental Health Board always seems to be a point of contention, and it's gone through cycles. We have 6 candidates here, 2 which have long-term commitment and seats on the board. But I think we're at a point that we do need to turn a corner. As I look at the other applicants, I appreciate Ms. Kell's experience in business operations, while the Mental Health Board does, and their primary responsibility is to distribute funds to mental health organizations. There is also a business and operational component that I think is important to have those voices on there. Mr. Langhenry, as a former police officer, with experience specifically in the mental health area. Mental health area. I feel strongly that both of those are strong candidates.
If you're making a motion, Mike.
What's that?
So why don't you
Are you
go
making a
ahead
motion
and
for
say
those
which
two?
two you are supporting?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for DeAnna and Thomas.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Scott?
Any other
Yeah, just
discussion?
Second that.
I can jump in. I concur with what Michael is stating. I think that both of those backgrounds are valuable. And I think anyone can learn the process. They seem zealous and eager, and I don't think they would have implicit biases either. And so I support Mr. Shorten's recommendations as well. And just to add one more, I was on the fence because I do think that Connee offers huge, historical factors and valuable content. I know that she would remain there regardless, so that is also why I'm leaning to support Mr. Shorten's recommendation as well.
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate everybody's comments and wishes. I guess I'd also like to, build on Member Krieger's comment about Connee Meschini, and it is difficult, to lose any historical. And that does make this decision incredibly hard. Just because of the historical knowledge and the commitment that she's made. I did also want to add to Thomas Langhenry, having a police officer, I think it's incredibly important to have that representation, and knowledge of the perspective from our first responders, who are boots on the ground and, really see and have seen, what a lot of the needs are. Mr. Lapinas' dedication over the years has been wonderful. And again, that historical knowledge and business sense is always good to have on the board. But I think, in my opinion, Mr. Langhenry would be a good decision, as well as DeAnna Kell. I think, with her knowledge of boards and serving on the Big Brothers and Big Sisters is definitely helpful in her business sense. So I'm good with the motion on the floor. Are there any other, comments or discussion? Okay, seeing none, then we'll go for votes.
Van Hoff.
So I need some clarification. What are we voting on? Are we voting on the majority numbers here?
So the motion on the floor is for DeAnna Kell and Thomas Langhenry. That was motioned by Mr. Shorten and seconded by Mr. Hendricks.
No.
Krieger.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Shorten.
Yes.
Von Bergen.
Yes. Motion carries to recommend to the Chair of the McHenry County Board, Ms. DeAnna Kell, and Mr. Thomas Langhenry. It takes care of deliberation for our two committees that are open. And next we will move on to the routine consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone would like pulled?
Can we pull, and maybe we're already going to have a discussion, I think you would have said about the Continuum of Care projects and agreements. I want to get a better understanding of how that relates to what was discussed earlier.
I'll let you go in this seat. No one will see you. So is it tied to like the program year versus the upcoming funds? Because the concerns that we have that were presented and what we're going to talk a little bit about in reports, that's for program year, that's for the upcoming program year 2026. And then the ones that are in here are for the current program year 2025 program dollars.
Okay.
So we have these funds, they're in hand, and then it's just a matter of the allocations going out.
Okay. So what was discussed before, and I guess I'm more focused on that than necessarily this.
Yeah.
I apologize.
It's all good. So are we.
Yeah. So what is the true, or do we know what the true impact is? Is this because of the one big beautiful bill?
Well, I'm sorry. As far as these, no impact. This would be the contracts for this year. That's
okay.
Yes, yes, and yes. You know, there were several efforts with the budget on the federal level. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on that. And several of them attacked or went after social service dollars, CDBG, home. They were on the chopping block for a little while. The COC, the Continuum of Care funds were bundled in similar discussions. They went through, they got the budget passed. This NOFO is now the rules and regulations on how those dollars will be spent. For years, those dollars were spent in a very, very systematic pattern, you know, equitable, understood. This year, that flipped completely. Sarah, you have a couple of handouts. You want to move on to those. Otherwise, if we close the vote on this, and then we
How
can
about,
go to reports.
yeah, if we move on with the routine consent agenda.
It's on our minds too, though.
So we can take care of the current year projects. So do we have a motion for 6.1 and 6.2?
Yes.
Okay, over Mr. Shorten, seconded by Ms.
Second,
Vanhoff?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Krieger.
Yes.
Hendricks. Vanhoff.
Yes.
Shorten.
Yes.
Thomfohrda.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Seeing no old business, we will, I don't know, presentations?
Well,
No?
just
So
keep the
just
matter at
under
hand now.
reports. Okay, so let's continue on with, I guess, some information on the continuum of care and moving forward.
So can I just make a comment?
Sure.
So it seems to me like this new legislation would criminalize being homeless.
You are correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not off at all.
Okay.
And it's several different aspects.
Because like the tents, the ruling on the, yeah. So the one question I have is, how will this affect programs like Compassion for Campers, which I know that you funded in the past, and those are people who, you know, for some reason or another do not fit into shelter care, but live out of their cars, or, you know, sometimes they get emergency, like in the winter, funding to stay in hotels and that kind of thing. How will it affect programs like that? Because, you know, we do fundraisers to get funds for that, and, you know, I know Compassion for Campers appreciates the funding that we got from, you know, the county, you know, more than once, a couple of times in the past, you know, decade. What's going to happen to programs like that?
Good question. There's a lot of kind of unanswered questions right now. If it's okay, could I just go through a little bit of this? I think hopefully it'll help. I know you're given a lot of information. We're echoing exactly what the agencies are saying about how concerned we are. I've been doing nothing but reading, trying to get through this 130-page NOFO, along with the National Alliance to End Homelessness, along with all these other documents that are coming in. I feel like this kind of summarizes all of that for you, and really points out the key differences of kind of what we're facing. Just as kind of a side, normally we are given around 3 months to complete the application. We've now been given 3 weeks. Tier 1 funding last year, think of Tier 1 as the protected. Any projects in Tier 1 are protected. They're almost guaranteed funding. Tier 2 is where the competition comes in and you have to score things, and HUD determines what will be protected. If you can see from last year to this year, 90% last year were in Tier 1, and now that's down to 30% for this year. So right there's going to be a dramatic cut in funding. And whether Tier 2 is funded is yet to be determined. That's going to be based on scores. I know it's like, you know, some of the agencies were mentioning 71%. 60% is where we could be looking at, so about a $1.2 million cut over 2 years to our award from the COC. I don't remember who, I think it was Kelly mentioned the Housing First model that had been used since 2003 by HUD, which of course is you house first, you don't, you know, sobriety and mental health and employment are not preconditions to that housing. Now with this NOFO, sobriety is being forced. There's mental health treatment that's being forced as well. Employment services, also requiring that 30% of the agencies have treatment facilities on site. And again, this is all within 3 weeks, if this is supposed to happen. So again, impact to agencies, and I'm sure, you know, what was said earlier too is they're going to have to completely change their service delivery methods and all their internal policies and procedures if they're going to compete for this NOFO. The big one that Adam and I have been talking about, of course, is previously there were no anti-camping, and hopefully, Ms. Van Hoff, this is kind of what you're talking about too. That was never enforced before. I mean, there was no requirement. Now they're saying that you have to provide evidence of anti-camping laws required for the entire jurisdiction. So, you know, as the county, certainly we can't force municipalities to change their zoning laws and ordinances. How could that happen countywide in 3 weeks? And effectively criminalizing the encampments. As we know, with some of the individuals in the encampments, that's already, a criminal record is already an issue, and this is just going to compound that by adding trespass charges. Of course, in the past, street outreach was encouraged. Now, street outreach must demonstrate a strong law enforcement partnership, so bringing the officers into the encampments. The biggest one, I know you heard from Kristen, the permanent supportive housing, that's probably one of the biggest shifts that we've seen with this NOFO. Does not support permanent supportive housing units unless they are specifically designed for the elderly or those with physical disabilities. So for example, anyone who's in a permanent supportive housing unit now, if they only have substance use disorder and they don't have a disability, they're facing eviction. Only transitional housing can be included in new projects. And then there's also going to be a requirement of providing 40 hours of case management to each individual per week. So if you have 200 individuals that you're serving, is that 200 now full-time case managers that need to provide a full-time 40 hours a week of case management services?
I'm sorry, can I just emphasize that again, make sure I understand?
Yeah.
So this is saying that each person would have a person assigned to them?
Essentially, yes. So you can imagine the burden that's going to place on agencies. Of course, no restrictions on LGBTQ in the past. In fact, that was encouraged. Now there's new prohibitions saying that you can't serve anyone who is other than binary, and they're not going to fund anyone who practices harm reduction, which of course we know from social services agencies that's probably the #1 practice. And then lastly, the minimal risk review was in place before. The way that the COC scored the applications was given incredible weight. Now there is an expanded risk review, which means that HUD can reject any project that even has a history of subsidizing any activities that conflict with this. So anyone who previously engaged in harm reduction, previously assisted LGBTQ, previously practiced housing first, which is what HUD was saying we needed to be doing, can now target those organizations and basically reject the project.
Can you comment on the new prohibitions on racial preferences? What exactly does that mean?
They're saying that you can't have, which isn't a bad thing, that you can't have racial preferences, which we couldn't discriminate before in our policies, I think is what. So that's not necessarily bad, but it's the other than binary that's the concern.
Yeah, but I just want to understand what that means. So if we look at McHenry County and we know that a certain percentage of the population is Hispanic or Black, then our funding should be proportionate to that. Is that what that's saying?
That's what that's saying.
Okay.
And again, we're looking at the potential impact for McHenry County as well, but we know that at least for the permanent supportive, at least 170,000 people nationwide are expected to lose their supportive housing because of the sudden shift in HUD policies. And then for the permanent supportive housing, which of course 59% of permanent supportive housing beds in Illinois are funded by the COC, a little over 9,300 people in Illinois. For us, McHenry County, we've been trying to run some reports. Last 2025, we had 442 individuals in the county in permanent supportive housing, either through rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing. That excludes emergency shelter, that excludes transitional. So if funding is cut by that 60%, which it could be more, we don't know. That takes away 265 beds essentially, meaning it could only serve approximately 177.
And of course, all of this could change with administration changes on the federal level.
Right? I mean, right now we have to proceed as though
I know.
This is in place. There is litigation that has started. Everyone has to have their projects to us by December 14th. So essentially the 15th, because that's a Sunday. And then what we do is we submit the collaborative application on behalf of all the applicants, and that's due by January 14th. So we're on a very, very tight timeline. And we're like I said, we're not even sure, like if we can't show countywide that we have anti-camping, are we just gonna be automatically disqualified, we're not sure.
And
I know.
I'm gonna ask loaded questions, but.
Sure.
So anti-camping laws, is there, sometimes from Springfield, we get, wording of this is what you must pass. Is the anti-camping laws, is that defined specifically, or is it broad? We don't know.
At present, our best guess, I mean, we have camping regulations in the Unified Development Ordinance that, that they require conditional use, they require IDPH sign off for specific aspects of it. There's definitions of what campsites are, and it's generic. It would fit encampments, tents and, no utilities, etc. We're hopeful that those are adequate to at least carry forward and check this box. We wrote this in 2014 and have enforced it throughout since. No one had the intent that that's how it's to be applied, for sure. But the truth is, most of these encampments are close to municipalities. For the same reason we push development towards municipalities. They have utilities, they have resources, buses, roads, etc. that can get them to things. So we're just not certain. And then the time frame in which the NOFO is pushed out, November 12th is when it was issued, December 14th. It's legally impossible. It's infeasible to change an ordinance in that time. So if the expectation was that we being every county in the nation or municipality in the nation to make that adjustment, it's just simply impossible.
And is the anti-camping ordinances, since some of the camping, do each of the municipalities also have to pass their own anti-camping ordinances or have them?
Right, I mean, it's, the way it's stated is within the entire jurisdiction. So countywide, the way we look at that is, and especially in reflection of some of the other items that have been introduced, the way we look at that is that, yes, the municipalities would have to have some aspect of that as well.
To make it be contingent on the funding.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So basically, the county can't tell Crystal Lake, for instance, what to do.
Yeah.
Sure. But if Crystal Lake doesn't do it,
yeah,
then it could affect whether you get the grant or not, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. As we read it.
Funding.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's an impossible thing, because then you would have to be coordinating this with all of the, municipalities and
and you're still wrestling with, you nailed it. Is this legal? You're still you're wrestling with the homeless bill of rights and everything that goes with that. It's that there's real issues that are being litigated while we're trying to address this.
Yeah, and human rights issues, you can't evict a tenant in the winter months. Right. So I mean, there are so many issues that come into play here. Wow.
So that's why only a fraction of those that have vocalized their frustration and their "is this for real" came before you today. We're aware that many are listening now. It's still sinking in. I mean, we have so much we can do, and then it's a coordinated effort. There's still information that we require from the service providers to provide to us, or the COC as a whole to generate or approve. The rubric is a good example of, there's still actions and steps we need to take within these 11 and a half days that we have left.
So I'm just thinking through this. What's the total funding that's at risk? Or where, I shouldn't say at risk, because it sounds like the funding mechanism has changed entirely. I'll make it simple. How much do we get before? How much would we?
So 2 million.
7% cut.
2 million over 2 years, so roughly a little over $1 million a year. granted for 2 years. And then, you know, I'm saying 60 because of the change in the tier 1 and the tier 2. It could be more because if some of tier 2 isn't approved, it could be even more.
Okay.
So I'm conservatively saying 60%.
And do the agencies that receive that, obviously it's important funding for them, but not getting that funding or not getting that full funding as they received previously, does that put them at any other risk of not receiving? I'm talking out loud and thinking through my question. It's kind of dumb, but I'll finish it. Does it put them at risk of not receiving other funding that they might get because they're not getting this?
I just think it puts them more at risk of not being able to deliver services.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it would necessarily jeopardize other funding streams, but it would. I mean, if you look at the resolution that just passed and look what every agency was granted.
Yeah.
If they're now forced to, like, if it's cut down to 800,000, they're now splitting a significantly smaller.
Okay.
I mean, because even like the one in the resolution that was just before you, Home of the Sparrow was getting, what, 529, and then also, excuse me, 103,000. That would almost be the whole funding right there.
I appreciate that. All right, there's a lot to take in, so.
No, it is a lot.
Yeah.
It is.
Thank you for trying to make it somewhat comprehensive.
I have to email it to everyone too, so you have it.
I guess what are the next steps for us as a county?
Yeah, I mean, that's just it, local voicing it, and we're all gonna try to pull in the same direction. I think that's the best result of having this come to the surface, so loudly today. I don't think locally there's a big pushback that can happen. It's even at the state level, it's a federal program, and these are federal actions that are occurring. We are acting as if this is the new program, and doing our best to make sure that the county is as eligible as possible for every dollar we can. We don't know what we don't know yet. We don't know if we don't know what happens after we submit this and how stringent or how these reviews will go. Exactly. Or the timing. That was mentioned, another piece. That's another thing that as we look, we look at the short-term issues and then we keep in mind our long-term issues. There was some language in the NOFO that talked about, that 70%, that tier 2 funding. There may be delays in reviewing it because there's kind of a skeleton staff, and how they phrase it, I'm not sure, but that sounded as if it was going to take a longer period of time. So relying upon that is difficult, to say the least. So, and then we talked about the awards going in June. I believe Home of the Sparrow mentioned that the awards maybe in June or July, I forget when that was.
Mm-hmm.
But that's edging really, really close to that program year, which is October 1. October 3rd.
Yes, October 1.
Yeah.
And you said this is in the courts, but we don't know what the court timeline is.
Right. Illinois Attorney General joined that lawsuit. There's several that are joining it, and the complaint is robust. It touches on everything and more that we had talked about in terms of civil liberties and existing rights and existing laws that are in place. So, unfortunately, while we're working on this, we're going to have to just listen for that.
Adam, I don't know if you guys answered this in this kind of talking conversation. What is the plan for those citizens that are in encampment or lose shelter? What is the plan that's stipulated as to where they're to go?
Either shelters, jail, or the hospitals.
Right, I think that's the frustration, Dina. I mean, that's just it, is what's left. Shelters, hospitals, healthcare facilities that respond, or incarceration facilities.
So I'm assuming that the sheriff's department and the state's attorney, they are notified on these circumstances, and who's monitoring these expectations, right? Who's monitoring, these encampments are shut down, or is it the state just either gets money or not?
Yeah.
Is that?
You know what, at this point, I'm just gonna be frank, not that we haven't thought through those. We know that those are real issues. We haven't looked at how those would be addressed. I mean, even on the continuum with 102 different agencies there, everybody would do everything in their power. That is a very compassionate group. That's why everyone's involved. But money is a real thing that, it sets limitations on what people can do. And that will be a problem in the future, on how things are addressed, to be perfectly frank. And whether that's, there's that population migrates towards population centers that have better support systems. I mean, frankly, McHenry County is residents of McHenry County are automobile dependent to get around. And so if the homeless population struggles with that, and they're going to be associated with areas that have more access to more facilities within either foot or train or bus or something.
I mean, I the political climate of looking at certain states that have, high, homeless populations that you see where there's tons. I think it's kind of radical in doing this in this short amount of time. I'm just curious to see how this will all unfold, and the longevity of this, especially that we're in the beginning of Chicago winter on top of it.
Yeah. This will affect next year. So this program year, compared to our first part of the conversation, is the COC funding that's before the committee right now and going before the county board, that will serve the program, the service providers through 2025, 26. Okay. So this will be this time next year when these will
roll out.
We'll know, I guess, what those monies are.
One last question, and maybe you answer this. How do we, obviously they're funded, but how do we confirm that we're servicing someone who was a former resident of McHenry County, meaning someone from Winnebago isn't here in McHenry? Is that data that's collected?
Residency, I guess home residency, better than how is that collected from either the first responders or from the shelters? How is it verified without
At a shelter?
Yeah.
Usually it's either some type of ID or mail. Some shelters, it depends, they're all different, but some shelters actually have residency requirements, like you have to either have lived in the county or worked in the county for a certain number of months or days even. All the shelters kind of have different qualifications on that, but usually you have to show something that ties you to that community.
Okay, so the housing that we're providing is to McHenry residents?
Yes.
Okay.
So just to...
That's all I have.
Sorry. Again, wrapping my head around it, so ostensibly the immediate crisis is a short time frame to get the application in, and also do the organizations, so everything on the right, do they have to be compliant with all that immediately, or do they have a year to?
So there's, again, it's very confusing because we're getting all this different information. One is saying that this won't take place until next year. Others, there's been, what do you call it, rumors, but that this could in fact replace the current NOFO as well. So, but yes, to answer your question, to apply, it's not a
You've got a
statement.
year to do this, it's, you have to
Like
be doing this
proving,
now.
yeah, proving, providing documentation.
Everybody knew that this was a competition year, meaning we have to reapply for COC dollars. So we were aware of it, every other jurisdiction's aware of it, and as that NOFO was being prepared to come out or talk of it coming out, we're anxious to see it. This came out, and that's what we're trying to kind of digest here, is that it's a lot, and it's a big, it's dramatic. So there's numbness almost. There's a lack of absorption on even some of the service providers. We're reading it, rereading it to verify that that's actually indeed what we're trying to read and make those interpretations so that we can put it in that application. Yeah, we have the same, trying to get our minds around it.
I think what's the most surprising, not surprising, but for me is that, you know, for years, HUD had pushed, you know, as far as the housing first and things like that. I mean, you had to show that you were providing those services, and now they're basically saying, well, if you ever did, we can reject your application. So they're violating their own policies by putting this NOFO out. And I think
So Adam, is this going to come through PED then?
Pardon me?
Is this the ordinance, whatever language, would that go through PED then?
No, it would go, well, this would stay with PHCS. Typically, we wouldn't have really any conversations in terms of how to respond to that NOFO. We would just procedurally follow it. But with the changes represented in this, we wanted to bring the committee up to speed. And this was also a good opportunity for the service providers to come in and share some of the feedback that they're getting, or they have as well.
You know, was your question relevant to the camping ordinance or?
Hey, DeAnna, was your question in relation to the camping ordinance or just?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay, that's the connection. Yeah, that makes sense.
It would. I mean, if we discover that we need to make stronger language in our camping regulations or put some sort of modification in the Unified Development Ordinance, then yeah, that would go through PED. That would just like those solar discussions, that would be a 90-day process to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, because it would have to go through the public hearing process with ZBA back to after it goes to PED, and then go back through PED again and the county board. So it's
right. So that we're going to be in non-compliance right there.
Yes, yeah. So that's 90-day process, and we'll have 32 days to put this application together.
Have you reached out to other counties, just within the state, maybe even other states, to see what they're thinking?
Lake, we've reached out to Lake, and we've, of course, as the COC, have been meeting weekly, trying to discuss ways that we feel we can try to still apply. I do know that there's others statewide that have elected not to apply.
That's what the goal is, I think, to discourage applications. It's a way to block it.
That could be looked at.
Can you email a full copy of the NOFO?
Sure.
Yeah. I've got 100 other questions, but I don't think it'll get us anywhere at this point.
Yeah.
132 pages, 130 pages.
Yeah.
And normally they're like 4.
So
I'm happy to send this
so you'll
and
send that to
yeah,
Kathleen.
and the NOFO too.
Cool. Meeting?
Well.
Yeah, there's, right, there's not It's not a great report. We're going to continue working. I mean, Sarah and her team have been working on this feverishly, and trying to make every effort to bring in the right party at the right time and the full COC board. I think you have meetings on Friday? Thursday and Friday. So it incrementally, we will get it done. I mean, this is a challenge that we will rise and hit, but unfortunately, we don't know what the result is yet. Yes. So in conversations with our HUD rep, right? One of the suggestions that she had made was there are people out there that either retired or whatever that do consulting that can offer, it may be worth spending, and we have planning dollars that would be good use of those funds to bring them in and have them do a third-party review of the application. Efforts to strengthen that. I think you have a meeting on Friday with them as well. So we'll find out what that cost is, if it fits within our box to do it, of dollars that we can spend on it, and it's can be feasibly done within the time period. And that's something that we'll probably take and run with as quickly as possible too.
Okay. Yeah, not very good news, but we certainly appreciate your really diving in and trying to decipher everything. Definitely, if you could keep us in the loop on any new findings, progress, yeah.
Absolutely. It's certainly on our minds, and it's on the minds of everyone listening or that showed up, or the ones that are working on the stuff that goes into this right now that just didn't have the time to listen or chip in. So yeah, it's of center focus.
Any other questions? No.
All right, thank you. Thank you all.
Any other reports?
We have none. I think that was enough for this afternoon.
Kind of a downer, but
I was thinking this is
well, I think as far as future topics are concerned, I imagine that this will fall in there.
I don't need it.
All right, seeing no reason for executive session.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Shorten moves, Ms. Van Hoff seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Motion carries.